Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Welcome to the Blackberry Show with Louis Rossman as a co-host. Today I want to go over a video that was done by Mr. Alex over at Northridge Fix over here. This is a Why Electronics Repair Shops Closing, TCRS, my take on Louis Rossman, Tronics Fix, Electronics School, and also he mentions Jessa Jones, iPad Rehab, and Paul Daniels in this particular video. Now, I listened to the entire thing. And to be clear, I think that there's some good points in here. He talks about the concept of failure versus learning, and that when this is something I did in a video like 11, 12 years ago, which is that when you shouldn't see it as you have failed at something when you didn't get what you want. You should see it as a learning experience and try to continue moving forward. There's some good stuff in this video, but there's also some things in this video that we'll get into it. So I'm going to play the first part of it because this is one of the primary pieces that was going to be the topic of this video. So I'm going to play from here.
The person like, I said I will brush on few YouTubers. You have a person like Paul Daniels. When Paul Daniels, who's been featured on Louis Rossman's channel countless number of times, when he was at 20,000 followers, I was at 2,000 followers. And I used to look at those YouTubers. Oh, that person has 16,000 followers. That person has 30,000 followers. iPad Rehab at that time had 120,000 followers. I had 2,000 followers. Okay? If you look at Paul Daniels right now, I'm not talking about skills. I'm not talking about his ability to fix anything. I'm just talking about numbers. Numbers that I see. Okay? Paul Daniels right now has 41,000 followers. When I was in my mother's womb, Paul Daniels had 20,000 followers. I was at 2,000 and he had 20. Northridge Fix has 440,000 followers and he is at 41,000 followers. How many videos does Paul Daniels have? This video is not about me showing off. Oh, look at me, I'm better. No, I'm just talking about what I see wrong with businesses closing or with YouTubers not able to bump up those numbers. As a person who fixes electronics, when I click on Paul Daniels' videos and I watch, how do I feel? That's what I'm talking about. How many videos does Paul Daniels have on his channel? 410 videos. That's an example of working hard and not smart. I watched few of Paul Daniels' videos. The guy may know how to fix MacBooks, but the way you present how you fix those electronics, it doesn't click with me, okay? It does not like you go, like in college, okay? University.
I don't want to play the entire thing because it is 45 minutes. And so I'm going to suggest that you watch the entire video before you listen to mine, and I'll get to some of my points here. I think above all, for all the cursing that I do, for all the bad language that I have and all that stuff, you will never in 13 years see me bringing up other people's subscriber counts on YouTube and saying they're working harder, not smarter. Look at where I am. I punch up. I don't punch down. We're not about punching down here. There's no need for that. You know, like Northridge has more subscribers than these people do. He's right. He's got a lot more subscribers than them. I got a lot more subscribers than him. You know who has a lot more subscribers than both of us combined? You know who's made more money off of 2 years on YouTube than either of us have made off of our entire business and YouTube combined? TechRax. TechRax. This guy throws phones down stairwells. He burns bugs. This motherfucker has burnt bugs. And he has more subscribers than we will ever have. He has made more money than we will ever have made. And again, the reason that I don't punch down when it comes to the subscriber count, the reason I don't punch down when it comes to working hard on smarter is because I realize at the end of the day that we won an algorithmic lottery. Luck is a big part of where we are right now. There's no other way to put it. Luck. Look at my early videos. This shit was garbage. There's no other way to put it. When people say my channel was mostly board repair, it really wasn't. Like in the beginning, it was me going over consumer rights shit in companies I thought were a scam. These videos were garbage. They were bad presentation quality. They were bad video quality. They were bad repair quality. So many of these videos were just complete and outright utter shit. Yet I still got to a point before even Linus shouted me out or anybody else shouted me out. I still got to a point of having like 30 or 40,000 subscribers off of bad quality content of me yelling into a camera. I had more subscribers than Paul Daniels did. You're right. Is that all because of me? Am I 2,000 times more entertaining than a guy that's just coming up today with 2,000 subscribers? Am I 2,000 times better at tech? Or is luck just have a little bit to do with that? I know that I won an algorithmic lottery. And I know that that was by chance. I'm not stupid enough to think that I'm fucking 2,000 times as entertaining as somebody else. And for me to put my subscriber count on screen and compare and contrast it to other people, I'm not saying I didn't put in the work. I did over 1,000 board repair videos, like 600 or 700 edited, about 300 or 400 live stream. I did a lot of videos going over stuff in the industry. I did a lot of videos where I read through laws in detail and I try to inform people. I did the work. I don't feel bad about it. I did the work to become successful. But at the same time, like, the difference between somebody having 10,000 subscribers and 2 million, I'm not deluded. I'm not like 1,000 or 2,000 times better than these people at these things. We're dealing with a recommendation algorithm that is out of its mind. And I know that. When you're talking about other people's success and you're talking about where other people are in life, you can't say that they're working harder, not smarter. It's an arrogant thing to say if you don't understand where they want to be. I do not want to be where Tim Herman is. Tim Herman does not want to be where I am. Paul Daniels does not want to be where I am. I don't want to be where Jessa Jones is. Jessa Jones doesn't want to be where Paul Daniels is. And I do not want to be where Northridge Fix is. We have different metrics for success. We have different yardsticks for measuring our success. What I consider success is very different from what all these other people consider success. We're doing us. And if we say that we believe we're failing by our own metric, by all means. But it's not somebody else's place to say whether or not we're working harder or not smarter, because we do not measure up to them on one metric. Anytime you're trying to evaluate somebody else's success in their business or their life, you have to ask what it is that they're trying to achieve. If I'm looking at somebody else's life, it's very important to ask, what are you trying to achieve with your life? What do you want out of life? He said this about Jessa Jones and several other businesses, because Jessa runs iPad Rehab. It's a phone and data recovery business. So let's just take Paul Daniels as an example. What is he looking for out of life? Paul Daniels is my friend. We've spoken from time to time, and he had a very, very, for lack of a better way to put it, seemingly wild life when he was younger. So in his older years, I think he's about 10 or 15 years older than me now, he wants to have a very, very calmly paced life. Like he's looking for the life like Final Fantasy IX's Village of Dali kind of thing. He lives in the absolute middle of nowhere. I think he lives in a town that has like 5 people, 3 cats, 2 goats. In all seriousness, you have to drive several hours from a major city to be able to see where Paul Daniels is. He lives in the absolute middle of nowhere, and he loves it. That's the life that he wants. When he does a live stream on YouTube, 7 to 30 people show up, but those 7 to 30 people are his close friends. He has a business that he is the only employee of, and if it ever grew to the point where he needed employees, I imagine that's not the life for him. When I do a live stream, 1,000 to 2,000 people show up to my live stream, and I don't know who a lot of them are, and there's a bunch of random comments in there and random shit that's just, YouTube tier bullshit. My business at one point got to 12 employees and then to 16 employees that I was managing. And that's a very difficult thing to deal with. I liked having a life when I was in a major city. I enjoyed having 12 to 16 employees. I'm good with having millions of subscribers on YouTube. But Paul Daniels would look at my life and say, and very likely say, that's hell on earth for me. And I could look at his life and say, that's hell on earth for me as well. The thing is, we have different concepts of what makes us successful because we're aiming at different things. So for me to look at Paul Daniels and say you're working harder, not smarter, well, what are you really looking to achieve? If you're looking to have as many YouTube subscribers as possible, that's probably not it. But if you want to do live streams, you're talking to your 5 or 15 online friends that you know, and some of them that you know in real life. If you want to have that tightly knit community, then he's doing exactly what he needs to do to be successful. Paul Daniels created a piece of software called Flex Board View and Open Board View, and he's been working on it for a long time since Claude I Quit. This is one of the best pieces of software in the community, in my opinion, for working on boards. Almost everybody in the community that does the type of work that we do uses this software and loves this software, and there are people that contribute board measurements and all different types of stuff to it. And he's got this little community he's created of people that help him with it, and everybody in the repair community knows that his software is the shit. Like for him, that's the metric of success. It's not, do I have videos that are easily digestible? It is, do thousands upon thousands of people think that my contributions to the community are awesome? So he sits there working on that rather than working on the videos. He's not about that life of having 16 employees. He's not about the life of having millions of YouTube subscribers. It's not even what he's aiming at. And if you gave it to him, it's not something that he wants. Another example, because he brought up Jessa Jones at iPad Rehab in this video, and he was talking about how he had far fewer subscribers than she did, and then later on he eclipsed and surpassed her in subscribers. And that's true. If we're looking through the metric of what you consider success and working smart versus hard, then she has utterly failed in that point with her YouTube channel. However, Jessa, she's one of my best friends. She does not derive the same type of enjoyment out of doing YouTube videos that I do. I like doing YouTube videos. For me, it's a creative outlet. It's not even about board repair or monetizing or money. I was doing videos on my channel back, this was just me talking into a camera about whatever, or yelling into a camera about whatever, with panels that even 12 years ago got destroyed by my cat. For me, it was a creative outlet. For Jessa, it's work. It's not fun. I can do 1 or 2 videos a day, and the reason I do these videos is because when I'm done with the video, I feel better. I need to get what's in my head out, and if I don't, like my friends notice that it does mess with me. If I haven't done a video in 1 or 2 weeks, I become a different person. I need my creative outlet. For her, it's not fun. It's work. She doesn't enjoy editing. She doesn't enjoy the process of making videos in the same manner that I enjoy that process of making videos. She has different metrics for what is working smart and not hard. So for instance, she doesn't make YouTube videos very much, and she likely has less retail walk-in business than Northridge Fix or I do, and she has less employees. However, she does teaching services for forensics. She really likes teaching. She has a PhD in molecular genetics, and she used to teach at her local university. She likes research, and above all, she likes teaching to a room full of people. And at this point, she's gone to a bunch of different conferences. She's made inroads with a lot of different law enforcement agencies. She's at the point right now where people are literally taking shovels and shoveling their money into her bank account and saying, we want you to come to our country to teach our law enforcement agency how to do this. And she's like, I don't got time to go to your country. And then they take the shovel. And it is literally, I'm not going to say the amounts. It's not my place. It's not my business. I hate the TMB thing. Trust me, bro. She good. The amount of money that either Northridge Fix or I make off of our YouTube channels or our online stores or anything like, I used to do private teaching and tutoring sessions. The amount of money that people are just fucking tossing at her to make it worth her time to leave her kids and leave the country to teach for several weeks. She's working smart, not hard. Like, by her standard of success, she's very, very happy. For me, that would be hell on earth. I tried doing teaching sessions with her where I wasn't doing one-on-one, but I was talking to a room. And for me, that was hell. For me, in person, like, I'm not in person in a room. I'm going to be sitting in the corner, like working on my crossword puzzle or something like that. If she's in a room with people, that provides her with energy. For me, when I'm doing a video, that provides me with energy, but being in a room of 16 people is the exact opposite. I see that as a nightmare. I enjoy doing a live stream when I'm doing a board repair where I can show you everything I'm doing as I go. She doesn't find that as fun. She enjoys being in a room with 16 people. That energizes her. That drains me. That makes me, it's not for me. We have different metrics for success. If I gave Jess a YouTube channel with 2 million subscribers and I told her to do a video every day, that's her idea of a nightmare. If she puts me in a room with people where she's making, I'm not going to say the amount, it's a good amount of money. I'm not saying she didn't earn it, but it's a good amount of money. If she said, you get all this money, all you have to do is teach this stuff to this group of 8 or 16 or 20 people for a week, I would lose my mind. See, we have different metrics for success, and we're aiming at different things. Since we're aiming at something different, to say that somebody is working hard and not smart, it's relative because it's based on what it is that we find successful. For instance, there are people that say that me moving to Texas was a bad decision because I have less business here. And there are people that think I moved here for lower taxes, and that's just complete brain-dead Reddit bullshit. Like, to save a few percent on taxes, I moved to some place that has 90% less customers. Tell me more. I make less money moving to Texas than I did in New York City. I made more money in New York City. There were more customers. Far more customers. However, in New York City, the view out my window when I was doing videos was my fire escape and the next neighbor's fire escape. You know what my view is when I look outside my window here? My business don't have as many customers. I don't make as much money. I'm good. Again, it depends on your metric for success. 7 years ago, I would have considered this failure. Now, I consider this massive success because I'm a different man now than I was 7 years ago. We got different ideas for success. But going over to somebody like Tim Herman. Tim Herman burnt out. It's obvious to anybody who's in the industry that he did burn out. He ran himself into the ground in his particular niche, and he decided that he wanted to try something new with his life, and he did. If he wants to share, he can share. If not, he doesn't have to. We talk from time to time. He is in a completely different career, doing something completely new. And for him, his metric for success, or his idea of working smarter, not harder, may be, I've been working in this one particular field for 8-9 years now, doing the same thing. I'd like to try something new with my life. And also, when it comes to metrics for success, his may be, I want to leave what I'm doing on a high note rather than stay in and leave on a low note. So for instance, when it comes to reviews and stuff like that, and we're going to get to that later, he has 5 stars on Google Maps. He's got 5 stars on Google Maps. He has a perfect rating. He opened with a perfect rating, and he closed his business with a perfect rating. Even I don't have that. I have 4.9. So for him, if he ain't feeling that passion anymore, maybe he wants to move over to doing something else where he feels like he can give that 5-star service on a regular basis. There was one also comment in that video going over like me and bench fees, saying like, Alex was curious why it is that when a customer sends something in that I didn't have a bench fee, but if somebody messed up the board, I would charge $100 return shipping. This was sarcasm. Okay, to be clear, if somebody sends me something and they've worked on it already, but they didn't really mess it up too much, we still don't have an estimate. We do not bill for an estimate. Estimate is always free. If you've sent it in and you've genuinely destroyed this shit, like I look at it and I go, you butchered this, then we bill a $100 fee. It's not $100 return shipping, but we do say up front before we do everything to it that if you want us to go ahead with this, again, if you don't want to go ahead with it, we'll send it back to you, $15, $25. But if you want me to try on this, it's going to be $100 whether or not I can actually fix it, because you decrease the likelihood by butchering it. Like, we have a no fix, no fee, no diagnosis fee, but that assumes that you did not butcher it. And he was saying, why do you do the $100 return shipping thing? I mean, I thought that was kind of sarcasm on the channel, but it wasn't. And that's going to piss off customers and lose customer satisfaction. Now, when we're talking about things like what makes, how we view success, or what I think is working smarter, not harder. If you look at my company over the years, listen, I curse a lot on my channel. I am a bombastic person. I have high standards for myself, for my employees, and for my customers. But the message on my channel, because I remember at one point he was saying that Tim Herman, he watches my stuff, and he watches Lewis say fuck this, fuck that about customer stuff, and he can do that because he has a lot of business. And I think the message that is there is really the wrong one. I don't know if he got the right message away from what I'm saying. The reason that I talk the way that I do is because I hold my customers' devices to the highest standard. The video I did in 2013 of fixing a MacBook keyboard, I am literally using a freaking Q-tip to clean out every single keyboard slot to make sure that the new keyboard that fits in, every single key feels like new because your case looks like new. When I'm fixing a board, I may be cursing, I may be being me, but I'm taking that T30 KN soldering iron and I am going over every single pin, every single resistor, making sure that thing looks new. And if anything looks like even a tiniest bit of the cap is off the resistor or the cap of the 0201 package, I put another one on there because I want it to look new. I make sure my customers are satisfied. Trust me on that one. And I think it shows in the ratings and the reviews. Now, again, if we want to talk about that stuff, I mean, I'm at 4.9. Paul Daniels is at 4.9. Northridge is at 4.3. Tim Herman may look at it and say, I want to leave before I go from being where I am to being where Lewis is. Tim Herman may think 4.9 is a failure because it ain't perfect. I have a different metric of success, perhaps, and what I'm looking for than Northridge. Alex may be totally fine being at a 4.3. He also said in a video that he did a while back that he does email customer service now. He doesn't answer the phone. I don't know if that's still his policy, so my apologies, Alex, if that's not still the case. But I do remember him saying, we are going to be doing only email back and forth for customer service. And to be clear, I didn't know Alex was going to make this video when I did my video on HP yesterday. But one of the main points in the video I did on HP yesterday? If a company does not want to pick up the phone for me when I call them, I don't want to do business with him. Whether it's $50, $500, $5,000, or $500,000. If I can't talk to a human and have an honest back and forth conversation with them before I give you money, I don't want to deal with that business. So my personal metric for what I would consider working harder and not smarter, my metric for what I would consider to be failure is the point at which my reviews go down as a result of my business going up, having an 8-week turnaround time, which is what he says he has, and not answering the phone anymore. Like, my business has scaled tremendously over the past 13 years, but I still pick up the phone during business hours, 11 to 7. You may have to wait on hold a little bit. You may not like the answer you get. Sometimes you may get a good answer and you may get it instantly, but somebody picks up the phone over there. If they don't run to pick up the phone as it's ringing faster than 911, like, fucking hell will break loose, because we got standards about that stuff here. And there's a certain level below which I do not want to go. Once I'm at the point where I cannot pick up the phone at my business, like, I'm checking out. I don't want to be there. I don't want to do that. It's not the way that I would run my business. But I also have a different concept of how I'm running my business than what Alex has. Alex is likely way more successful than I am in different verticals. I take in every brand of micro SD card, every brand of hard drive, every brand of SSD, and for laptops, MacBook only. He takes in way more than that. He takes in video cards. He takes in just car key fobs and virtually everything. So, and one of the reasons that his reviews are lower than mine is not because he is a shittier technician than me. That ain't what it's about. It's about the general nature of what you take in. I take in devices where I know that I'm the shit, that I know what I'm doing. We take in these different brands of SSDs. Chris has got over like $100,000 of education in his head from every place I've sent him. He's got all the tools necessary to do that stuff. So when you send him that, he's going to do an awesome job. It's going to be guaranteed. We know what we're doing. We know what it's probably going to cost. We know what the issue probably is going to be. And I take in devices where I know I'm going to be able to offer that level of service. But the downside to that is I'm going to say no to a lot of services that people may want that I don't do. He says yes to a lot of different devices. He's more of a general purpose place. Well, when you're a more general purpose place, you're not going to be able to give that type of instant estimate. You're not going to know exactly what's wrong with it. You're not going to be able to tell somebody over the phone, okay, it's either A, B, or C, and here are your options, the same way that you would if that's a device that you work on every single day. As you're also going to have a longer turnaround because you have to figure out, where do you even get parts for this shit before you start working on it? And as a result of that, your reviews are going to be lower. Again, this is not a reflection of Alex not being as good at tech. It's a reflection of him having a business where he is taking in every single device under the sun. And I don't know how many employees he has at this point that are actually doing technical repairs. I remember when I had 16 employees, his channel was still going up, and I don't think he was up to that at that point. Again, there's nothing wrong with it, but we're looking at the world through different metrics of success. Northridge Fix does not want to have a business where he focuses on working on one or two things. My apologies, Alex, if I'm misrepresenting you there, but I don't think he wants to have a business that's like mine, where he has a very narrow scope of what he works on, like these types of storage, this brand of laptop. And simultaneously, I do not want to have a business where I'm working on everything, but I'm quoting customers in 8-week turnaround time. His words, not mine. I do not pick up the phone for people anymore. His words, not mine. And like, I'm 4.3 stars on Google. That's not it. That's not what I'm looking to do. So for me to look at Alex and say he's working harder, not smarter, he's not doing these things that he's supposed to do, it doesn't make sense without me having a conversation with Alex and saying, what is it that you're trying to achieve? What is your metric for success? What are you aiming for? Paul Daniels does not want 2 million subscribers. If I gave Paul Daniels 2 million subscribers, in the words of Eli the Computer, that's like giving a penguin a gold coin. It's not even like he doesn't like the gold coin, but he's going to look at it and go like, what do I do with this? Do I eat it? Do I sit on it? Do I dig a hole with it? Like, Paul Daniels is a great guy. I'm not saying this is an insult, but 2 million subscribers to him is like a gold coin to a penguin. He doesn't want that. He doesn't even know what to do with it. It would take him a day to even figure out that's, oh my God, the spray bottle's been there the whole time. It would take him a few days to even figure out that is a nightmare to him, because when he would hit the start streaming button, he would not have his close friends that he likes talking back and forth with show up. He would have fucking 1,000 or 2,000 people showing up and like putting, Goatsy or Hitler ASCII in the fucking in the chat that people have to clean up, because he's got a different goal in life than me. Admittedly, he's much more further along in that than I am. I am at a point where I prioritize going outside and hearing the birds chirp and seeing the lake and the landscape and the clouds way more than I do money at this point. 5 or 10 years ago, I wanted the action. I wanted the more money. Now I want the slow life. And when I'm Paul Daniels' age, maybe I'll want even the slower life. Maybe I'll go back to New Ipswich, New Hampshire, and like sit there by a lake in a town that is completely freaking quiet, or go to Walpole where I can. That place actually looks like Frontier Village Dali, where you just walk out into this one giant round lake and you feel like you're inside a video game cutscene. If I do that, I'll probably be making virtually no money. It would just be, like 3% off of treasury bonds or something. I'd probably be making like $20,000 a year. But what point in life are you at? Last point that I wanted to go over here is when he was going over Jessa Jones and during the pandemic. And this is admittedly, he said that I curse a lot when I was going over this. And I did. I cursed a lot. I believe I called him a piece of shit 4.5 years ago when he was talking about Jessa Jones taking advantage of people during the pandemic. What he was referring to is the fact that she was selling masks during the pandemic. Now, this is back in, I think, like March or April of 2020. Yeah, this is April 11th, 2020. And he was talking about that because people were worried about masks during the pandemic. There were shortages of it. And the way that he made it sound, because he mentioned it again, and he used the exact same wording in this video, he makes it sound as if what Jessa did is she went to a CVS on March 20th when all this stuff started going crazy. She bought every single mask in the store, and then she for $10 each, and then she went on YouTube and was offering it for like $50 each. And that ain't it. That ain't it. What she was doing was she got all this random cloth material, and she's sitting there and she's literally putting them together from scratch. Like she didn't go to CVS and buy up all the N95s and then just mark them up 500%. She did a video where she's literally sitting there sewing her own random crap together out of stuff that's in her house, and then she was selling them to people on her channel. On YouTube, I mean, I can't believe I'm explaining this stuff. We sell merchandise to people who appreciate our content. In 10 years on YouTube, actually 12 years on YouTube, Jessa has never had a sponsor. She does not have sponsors on her channel. Nobody pays her for it. I have never had sponsors on my channel. But there are people that like my content. And if they like my content, since I don't have sponsors and all these other paths to monetization, since I tell all my audience to use AdBlock, people will sometimes buy merchandise that I've made or that I've resold. Like, you can buy a mouse pad for $3 online. This mouse pad is like 15 or 20 bucks because it has a picture of my cat with his ass cut off on it because I don't know how to fucking edit photos. And like Northridge Fix has items on his online store where he's charging several times more money than what you could buy virtually anywhere else. I have never insulted, I've never put him down for that. I said that he's taking advantage of people while he's doing that because he does a service. He puts out a lot of content on how to fix stuff that people find valuable. He creates content and advice on how to run a business that people find valuable. Again, what he says about failure versus learning. Like you didn't fail, you're just a learning experience, try again. That's valuable information, and that's information people need to hear. And when people hear that information and they learn from his information and they fix stuff from his information, they're looking at his channel and go, you know what? Yeah, this thing, I could probably buy this thing for $18 on eBay. I'm going to spend 40, 30 or 40 or $50 at Northridge Fix because I like his stuff and I like what he does and I want to support him. When people buy a Mr. Clinton the Cat mouse pad, they're not doing that because they need to buy a mouse pad. They're doing it from me, and I bought up all the mouse pads at Walmart for $3 and I'm selling them for $15. They're doing it because I want to support what I do. When Jessa was making masks, like people were not buying her masks because like they needed a mask and this is the only way to get one. I mean, she's making a piece of cloth that she's sewing together herself. She wasn't fucking going to see when you listen to how he's talking about it, he's making it sound like she went to CVS, she went to the drugstore, she went to HEB, she bought up every single N95, and now she's just selling them for 5 times as much like everybody else. And I thought that was really disingenuous framing. Listen, was I hard-handed in the way I said what I said? Yes, but yeah, I think that was a piece of shit thing to do. Like going out there and talking about what she's doing and kind of lobbing her in there with the people that are actually going to the store and buying up every single piece of toilet paper, lobbing her in there with people that are going to the store and buying up all the supplies so that they could sell them for 5 times as much later. There were people in my neighborhood in New York that were doing that. When the mask mandate thing came out, they went to Jane Reed, they bought every single fucking box and they were selling that shit for 5 times as much on the street. And listen, that whole scalping thing, that's a piece of shit thing to do. I'm not a fan of people who do scalping. I'm not a fan of that bottom feeding bullshit. But this is really? I mean, like she's sitting at a sewing machine in her house making this out of random shit that she has. Like it's not the same thing. And the thing is, when you look at it, when you look online, nobody fucking complained about her masks. There's not a single bad review that said Jessa Jones bought up every fucking piece of mask, so I had to buy from her. This was a problem that he fabricated. This is a problem that Northridge Fix made up. Nobody has complained about the mask that she sold in her store. But if you Google Northridge Fix online store, you're going to find a lot of people complaining about the quality and the service that they got from him. You want to talk about that shit? Like, let's go. No, not a single person has complained about what they got from Jessa Jones' store when you Google about her mask. Not a single person. If I Google Northridge Fix store, I'm going to find some stuff there. I'm going to find some unhappy customers. And I'm going to find some customers that are unhappy with what they bought, where your markup is way higher than her markup when it comes to labor costs and paying her friends to make this shit for the crap that she was putting together with a sewing machine. I don't like that shit. I don't like that shit. That's that weasel shit, and I don't like the weasel shit. I don't respect the weasel shit, and I don't like it. Again, you know, and one of the last things here is when like I've had a lot to say about other repair shops that break people's shit. You know, I've talked a lot about that on this channel. And one of the things that's important is when you see me talking about other repair businesses that have fucked up people's stuff, one of the things you'll notice is every time I do this, I'm talking about a franchise that's worth 10 or 20 or $30 million. Just to go over this industry in general. I started working in Avatar Studios as an intern back in 2007, then as a junior tech in 2008. I quit. I had about $250 or $260 in my pocket, and I started doing what I do today. And one of the things that makes me the saddest about this entire industry is that the entire time I've been doing this, I've been trying to throw the ladder back down so that people can get up to where I am. Even back in 2009, my website didn't just say, here's the price, here's the service. It said, here's the machine that I use, here's the parts that I use. By the way, this machine has 4 different screens in it, and they're not necessarily all compatible, so that if other people wanted to do the exact same thing that I was doing, they could learn and figure it out as they go. Back in 2008, I could buy a screen for $58. It was a 5-minute repair. A few years later, 2012, the MacBook Airs, you got that LP133WP1 TJAA, where if I wanted to buy it and get anything remotely near a competitive price, I had to buy 200 to 600 of this at a time. That's not something that a kid with $200 in his back pocket can do. And these repairs were much more difficult. You needed different tools. It wasn't something I could do on a house call in 5 or 10 minutes. It wasn't something I could do on a bus. And then in 2023, 24, 25, these screens cost $200 to $300. They're very difficult to fix, and half of the time they're knockoff. If you want to buy a good screen assembly, you're going to be going to Apple and paying $300 to $500 for a screen assembly to be able to do the job. And when it comes to board repair, I used to charge $250 for board repair. My donor boards were like $7. The chips were $1 or $2. Fast forward now, and a board is something along the lines of like $200 to $400 for some donors just to get a single chip off of it. There are times where Dan has paid $300 for a donor board to get one chip that you can't buy elsewhere. This is an industry that in many ways is on its way out. There's not much I can do about that. I've fought for a long time for access to schematics, diagrams, and board views, and I'm not going to bullshit you and say that I've gotten everything I wanted. I'm happy I got a wheelchair bill passed. I'm happy I got a tractor bill passed. I'm happy that I got to work with excellent people that are smarter than me, like Nathan Proctor and Kevin O'Reilly at US Perg, and all these people that are infinitely better at this than I am. But in these ways, I failed. And admittedly, even if I hadn't failed legislatively to get what I wanted done, if I hadn't failed all of you, which I'm very sorry for, I know a lot of you were hoping that I would be able to get something passed that was more useful. The fundamental economic reality is one that is not sensible for people who want to stay in this. Like, this niche at some point will go away. A MacBook was $1,000 back in 2009. And a house in this neighborhood was $200,000. A house in this neighborhood is no longer $200,000, but a MacBook is still $1,000. When you look at the cost of a smartphone, when you look at the cost of a lot of the devices that Northridge Fix works on, these devices cost approximately the same, except for GPUs. GPUs is a clusterfuck. GPUs is like fucking GPU. Anyway, except for GPU, a lot of the stuff that he works on, the price of these devices 15 years ago and now is very similar, but the cost of living at this point is just insane compared to where it was 15 years ago. You know, it was insane 10 years ago compared to where it was 15 years ago, and so on and so forth. So this is an industry that is fundamentally kind of getting inflated out of. So when I see people like Tim Herman leave, do I think that people like Tim Herman could have done other shit? Absolutely. Do I think that Tim Herman got burnt out based on maybe not doing stuff the way that he should have? I'm sure there's different things that Tim Herman could have done. Am I going to punch down on him and say, well, here's, or on Paul Daniels or Jessa Jones because of it? Not really, because like Jessa Jones is getting into a niche that makes sense for her. Again, forensics and teaching people versus replacing backlight filters on iPhones for $20. Yeah, you do you. Forget about this. Paul Daniels working on his software that people are paying for hand over fist. Yeah, listen, if you want that versus YouTube, you do you. Tim Herman, he again, I'll let him talk about the career that he's decided to move on to, but he looked at the landscape and he said, this seems like a sinking ship. Now, maybe I could rearrange the deck chairs in the Titanic, or maybe I could try to do something else with my life. He decided to do something else with his life, and good for him. Where I am right now, I have no illusions about it. I am where I am right now because I made money off of doing all these jobs that used to exist that no longer exist at this point in time. I have hundreds of thousands of dollars in data recovery equipment and training for all these people here, and I would not have been able to afford that in the beginning. I realized that I kind of ran across this bridge that was burning behind me as I was running across it, and I don't like that that bridge burned behind me. But when I look at what I have now, I'm not going to look at these other people and think to myself, well, yeah, they weren't able to run across the bridge along with me. Because I don't even know if they wanted to run across the bridge along with me. I don't even know if they wanted to be doing what I'm doing. I realize I'm in a very privileged and lucky position for the fact that I can afford to move into those higher profit margin jobs. When we're doing data recovery on solid state drives that have died, where some other company quoted $10,000, and Chris can get it done in 2 hours, and we can quote less than 10% of that, not only is the customer very happy, but there's good money in that. These are not replacing iPhone screens. This is not like doing our best to beat $70 out of a stone after spending an hour or 2 hours on something. But I also realize that this is not a luxury that everybody else has. People who started after me do not have the luxury of having that money that they made when there was actually real money to be made in this industry to then buy all that equipment to be able to start doing those higher level jobs. If I started today the same way that I did 15 years ago, I would not be where I am. I would not have 2 million subscribers. I probably wouldn't have 2,000 subscribers. I wouldn't have like hundreds of thousands of dollars of data recovery equipment. I wouldn't have a bunch of employees that are infinitely smarter than me than everything that luckily can actually do the repairs I no longer do because, well, yeah, again, if you watch any of my videos, you understand. But I don't want to rub that in their face. I know Tim Herman can't buy all the same shit that I can. I know that people I know that a lot of the people starting now are more screwed than I am. I'm not happy about that. One of the reasons the whole subscriber thing is bullshit, this man has literally burned bugs. I'm not kidding. Like, he burned bugs. He put molten lava on bugs. He takes phones and he throws them down stairwells. This man is more famous, more subscribers, more money than all of the people I'm talking about here combined. Is he working smarter, not harder? If I do what TechRax did, am I going to have 7 million subscribers and all of his money? If Northridge Fix starts burning bugs and throwing smartphones down stairwells, is he going to go from 400,000 subscribers to 7 million? You know that's not going to fucking happen. Because he hit an algorithmic lottery that we didn't hit. I hit an algorithmic lottery that Northridge Fix didn't hit. Northridge Fix hit an algorithmic lottery that many of these other smaller channels didn't hit. For me to come out here and say, look, I'm more entertaining than these people, like, really? Am I 5 times better at tech than Northridge Fix? Am I 5 times more entertaining than Northridge Fix? If not, then why do I have 5 times the subscribers as him? 6 times, probably. That ain't it. Punch up. Don't punch down. And don't give me this shit about how Jessa Jones is like taking advantage of a pandemic. That's fucking bullshit. She's sitting there with a freaking sewing machine putting together shit. Like, you sell merchandise in your store. With, like, yeah, I Google. You have more unhappy customers than she does. You fucking know that. So don't give me that bullshit. You sell merchandise at a markup. I sell merchandise at a markup. She sells merchandise at a markup. It's business. People want to support their favorite creators. And if people are not complaining about it, if not a single person out there had a problem with it, and you didn't buy her stuff, what's your problem with it? Why are you inventing problems out of nowhere? Why you got to look at these other people that are doing them and say that they're not working smart just because they're doing them instead of doing you? How about you do you and let them do them? And if you get to the point where I am, or where he is, or any of these people are, punch up, not down. See you in the next video. Bye now.